My name is Janet, and I'm a health coach. The name of my business is Here4You Health Coaching, and I work with clients to help them reach their health goals. My story begins with loving food. I worked in restaurants my entire life and have loved food my entire life, prepared food always. And I've worked in all different kinds of restaurant. I've worked in fine dining, more casual. I've worked in a bakery. So I really have worked in all aspects of food and working in restaurants, and I just absolutely love it. I have 3 kids that are 18 and 19 months apart, and I always taught them how to cook and how to eat healthy. In about maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, about 4 years ago, I started to work for a doctor who has some functional medicine interest, and I had never heard that term before. I didn't know what it meant. And functional medicine is looking at our system, our body as a system, and how it's functioning. Is it functioning correctly? And functional medicine has a tie looking at food to say, are there foods that harm us or foods that help us? And can food be a poison, and can food be a medicine? So this really interested me because I'd never heard the term functional medicine before. I didn't know what it meant. So as I started to learn more about it, I got very energized in it and in the field, and decided to get certified as a functional medicine health coach and really dig into the relationship between food and health. So in our nation, autoimmune is a huge problem. Almost everybody I meet has an autoimmune disorder of one type or another. Autoimmune really means inflammation. So somewhere in our bodies, an inflammation started. And a lot of times that inflammation can be from a food source. In our normal path of going to the doctors, the doctor will prescribe a steroid or prescribe a medication. And that pill or medication might have secondary symptoms. So you're masking the symptom with the pill and then maybe getting more symptoms. So functional medicine looks at it to say, how can we maybe get to the root cause and what's actually happening in our bodies? So as it relates to you and raising your children, again, for me, my kids are 28, 26, and 25. When I raised my children, the incidence of autoimmune and food allergies, I never heard it. I mean, it just wasn't a topic when I was raising my kids. Now, if you're bringing your kids to school, half the room has food allergies. So what happened? Why are we all of a sudden, why are our children's children ending up with all these food sensitivities? So a big part of that is how the food is being raised now. We have farm factory animals. So animals are, you've probably heard in the news and, these things, animals are not being raised the way they were meant to be raised on a farm. The factories have them crammed in living quarters together. They don't get fresh air. They don't get fresh food. They're standing in their own excrement. They're getting shot up with antibiotics because they end up getting sick. And they're given food that they're not really meant to eat. So that sounds like a pretty bleak picture, right? Like, yuck. So then you think you're eating that food. That's what we're consuming. And so our bodies are saying, wait a minute, just like the cows actually, we're saying, hey, we should be having superior product. We should be feeling better. And how do we do that? So it's really important with your children when they're young to teach them good food, to teach them how to eat all the colors of the rainbow. I tell all my clients, eat the color of the rainbow in vegetables, as many colors as you can bring in with all the different vegetables. The phytonutrients that are in the different colors, those all aid in fighting whatever's going on in our system. So if you can bring in, broccoli and beets and squash and leeks, and I'm trying to pull colors out, and eggplant and mushroom. And I would also say to parents that don't be afraid to give your kids those things when they're young. When your doctor has said, start giving your child vegetables, start giving them fruits, go right into the rainbow and start giving them as much as you can in those different areas. All those areas, all the colors, they're all so good for our health. So also when my kids were little, because I am a food chef person, they were always in the kitchen with me. So when they were in car seats, I'd have them on the counter in the kitchen with me. If I'm cutting carrots, they're holding a carrot. If I have a potato, they're carrying, they were always right there with me. So if you're doing your dinner and you're cooking and you think, well, I shouldn't get them, they're too young or something, go get them. The kids love to help. So the more you can invite them in, the more that they're going to really enjoy that experience of learning what that is. Mom, why are you using that? Why do you cook with that? What are we going to put it in? And that will also help them to take away the maybe stigma of eating different things, because they've helped you prepare it. So now they want to taste it. That would just sort of follow naturally. It's not coming to them as a surprise. You also may find that your kids like something for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden they just decide they're not going to eat it anymore. Keep giving them whatever it is. They'll come back around. I can promise you that. My kids, because they were so close in age, the first one was a little more picky. So I would feed him one thing, the second one, the bottom two ate more everything. And I found myself at one point, I don't know how old they were, thinking, what am I doing? I'm doing 3 different meals. I'm done. So I would also really recommend and encourage you to cook the meals for everybody. Everybody eats the same food. Don't get into that habit that I got into as a young mom until I just said, what am I doing? This is silly. And here I am, a cook, and I'm catering 3 different meals. The other thing for this topic is that shopping for good food is so important. Looking for grass-fed beef, looking for wild-caught fish, and again, loading up on the vegetables as much as you can. That's really going to help to fight off giving your body armor, giving your body natural antibiotics, as it were, to keep those diseases away. If you are a parent of a child with allergies or a parent with an autoimmune, I would also, if this is the first time you're hearing functional medicine, you didn't know what it was, look up doctors in your area that are naturopath, functional medicine, integrative, and they'll look at whatever the issue is a completely different way. A lot of people just don't know that they're out there, and it's a great way to go. I also know there's a lot of single parents that are hearing me and they're saying, okay, well, this all sounds great, but I'm raising a kid on my own. I'm working full time. I don't have time to do all this cooking and getting the right food. And I completely empathize with you. I understand. I have clients that are in exactly the same position. So I really encourage you to meal prep as much as you can. So make a commitment that on the weekend you pull your kids aside and say, hey, we need to get ready for the week. I need help. Bring them in the kitchen. If let's say you're prepping salads and you're cutting up bell pepper and cucumber and avocado and different things that you want to have for your salads, ask them to help put things in bags or whatever they can do at their age to bring them in the kitchen as much as you can. I also was going to suggest crock pots are a really good way to go for meal prep. You can meal prep chili, you could meal prep a soup, you could get a stew ready, you could do like chicken, Mexican chicken, or however you wanted to do it. Just put your ingredients in a Ziploc bag, put them in the refrigerator. When I do my crock pot, I get everything ready the night before. So in the morning, I just set out the base of the crock pot. I pull the thing that I had in the fridge with all the ingredients, put it right into the crock pot and walk out the door. You come in at the end of the day, you're a hero, you're hungry, you just want to eat dinner, and it's ready for you. So there's nothing better for you for ease than a crock pot. I think it's just phenomenal. So if you are that busy working person, maybe 3 days a week you do crock pot dinners. They can be a little bit big, and have those leftovers, and then you have a container that you can put your leftover dinner in, and you're out the door to go to work, and you have lunch. So you're not going all day starving because you didn't have time to prepare it. So I think as parents, it's really important for you to really keep yourself healthy, to watch out for your kids, that they're getting the best things. And it does take some investigation. It does take time. It does take a little patience. Read the store labels. Everything is so incorrectly labeled, or it might say healthy on the front, and then you turn the back and you see there's all these things on there that you don't want. So I would really just advise you to really spend time at the grocery store. I know that we're talking about maybe the parent that's really busy, but spend time at the grocery store, read those labels, even on bread, when you think, oh, okay, this is a good product, but then you turn it over and maybe it's not so good. I got a canned container I was going to use for work that said eggplant and onions, and I was going to put it on lentils, and I thought, awesome, this is going to be great. And I was in a rush, and when I got to my office and looked at the label, it was an oil that I don't personally use. So I was really disappointed. So what I thought was a healthy product wasn't made in a healthy way. So the last thing I wanted to end with was something for you just to think about. I listened to a TED Talks, and this guy calls himself the ghetto gardener. And he ended his TED Talk saying, if you show a kid how to grow kale, he'll eat kale. And I loved that, because it's exactly what I'm saying. If you show a kid a carrot, you show a kid squash, you show him, these things, I encourage you to eat them yourself and to feed your kids the absolute best products. And if you are having autoimmune, if you're having food sensitivities yourself or your children, see if you can look up those different doctors that I mentioned so you can get to the root cause and maybe get off medication if you're on medication. So I hope all these tips have helped. I'm Janet, Here4You Health Coach, and thank you to the non-experts for asking me on. I really appreciate the time. Mama.